New project incoming. This is the Craftsman LT1000 I have. I'm gonna try to keep it as stock as possible, but I'm slamming it. This is actually the original motor that was in it, so I shouldn't have any problems mounting it or anything. So, stock motor, not stock transmission, it was hydrostatic. I sold that. Anyway. Yeah, new project incoming, racing mower. I also just want to give a little rundown of the garage now, for what I'm doing with these projects and whatever. Of course, we got the Craftsman mower I'm about to build. So that's what I'm going to be mainly working on. I got the micro bike. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this because the motor spins the opposite direction, so I'll have like 40 miles an hour backwards instead of forwards. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might have to do something with like a jack shaft type thing or transmission. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. I might actually be able to take the clutch from the, I think this is a YT125 motor, and put it on here if it's the same shaft. I hope. The old John Deere 70. This is a 1971. My oldest machine. It has a trike rear end on it. I had so many plans for this thing. Just I have so many other projects that I'd love to get done before this. This thing would be such a mean mower, mud mower. Because I can like do an e-brake. Steering wheel is so nice. Steering is like the best steering I've ever felt on a lawnmower. And then the big, meaty 22-inch tires, they're like a foot thick too. But I'm selling it to one of my friends. He wants to get into lawnmowers and modified lawnmowers. And I told him I have a John Deere, has your name on it. So I totally just revamped this side of the garage. It was a complete mess. The other side is a mess, so I need to clean this place out. Anyway. This is my white LT12. It's a 1987, I believe. And I had the axle on the bottom. I was just gonna have it as like stock lawnmower. I'm also slamming this. I'll actually be able to race this in a circuit because, you know, I got this gearbox and the axle. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet. Steering is very bad, so I'll probably have the steering go over the motor, down, and then to each wheel. And then I, of course, have the Murray. This, I'm so mad. I overheated the engine, and it now has a warped head, and it does not run. So I'm buying my friend's lawnmower for $180. I'm taking the motor out of this, 18.5 horsepower opposed twin. And I'm putting in a 24 horsepower V-twin. I'm getting a hell of a deal on that because any engine with this little hours, I mean, it has like an hour on it, the one I'm buying. They would be going for like $900. I'm getting the entire lawnmower for $180, so that's a steal. And my mini bike. It's not the prettiest, but it works. I have to do something with the carburetor. I cleaned it like 5 times and it's still bogging down, and I have to have it run on half choke. So I might just get a new carburetor. That's the stock carburetor. It's a Honda GX390, so you can definitely push some power if I get another carb. Then I have my shopping cart. Basically, this was all rigged up and this was like perfect until I tried to make the spring compress and I snapped the frame. So I have to reinforce it. Well, I have to fix it, then reinforce it. Anyway, enough yapping. Let's finally build this thing. I've been waiting for years to build this. Right now, I'm trying to figure out a front end for it. I'm basically just gonna flip the front axle. Except if I did that, the entire front end, or the spindles, would be held on by a C-clip, and obviously that won't work. So I'm drilling a hole in the middle of these and tapping it and putting a bolt in there, so it's held on by a bolt and not a C-clip. Therefore, I can rotate the front pivot bar thing. Holy crap, I never would have thought it'd be so freaking hard to drill this. I mean, I've been drilling for like 5 minutes. It has barely made a dent in it. I can barely feel it with my finger. Honestly, I don't feel like drilling this out, and I highly doubt I'll ever be taking out the spindles again. So I'm gonna get the spindles all lubed up, all perfect. And then I'm just gonna weld a washer onto the top of it, because that might even be stronger than a bolt. But yeah, I'm just gonna weld a washer on top of it because I don't feel like drilling. I have found 2 washers. I wish they were thicker, but I think these will probably be fine. I wish they were like maybe twice as thick, but I'm just gonna wing it and hope nothing breaks. So I've been out here for a couple hours experimenting. I've noticed I cannot just flip it because then I have damn near no clearance. And I live at the bottom of a hill, so any slight bump or increase in elevation, I will scrape if I just flip it. So I have made a little something I have soaking over here. It's hot as hell. Okay, we don't talk about my welds, okay? I have a flux core MIG welder, and I can't weld for shit. So it'll be welded like this. It has a lot of camber. I'm just now realizing that. So yeah, I just welded a plate to the top of here, and I have like another plate that's bent welded to here, and it's welded to the bottom of here. This is maybe a little bit too much camber, honestly. That's like 15% camber. So tire will be like this. That's way too much camber. All right. I don't know what to do because I don't feel like cutting all this. I might be able to take a notch out of that corner right there, re-weld it, and hope that it has less camber. This is a lot of camber. These spindles are actually really nice. They have like no play in them. So I'm gonna go cut this. One side is done. And in typical fashion, everything has to go wrong. Tip of my welder broke. So I'll have to start this up like next week because that's when it's coming in. Anyway, the other side is kind of welded. It's mostly welded. I just need to finish this weld, that weld, and I probably have to weld it a little bit better on here. And I just have to grind all this down, paint it, weld it onto here. So while I'm waiting for all that, I'm gonna look for a transmission. This is the stupid single speed ones. This is a spicer. Probably use a spicer. It has a welded diff. It might actually be locked up. No, it's not. Never mind. Oh, I'm missing the brake. Oh, it's right here. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can get this thing, like, unlocked. If I can't get the spicer to work, I'll use this, and I'll just have a 1 speed, and it's press it down, go. So hopefully I can get this working. It has a welded diff, so this will be a drift machine. So I'm trying to rig up the transmission now. We will have to notch the frame, so that the transmission is level with the engine shaft, because the engine shaft comes out on the bottom, obviously. So the shaft has to be at least under here. So we will have to notch the frame multiple inches. Hopefully I can have engine mounts that I don't have to weld on. So whenever I get my welder working, I can make this thing a roller finally. So yeah, I'm gonna have to notch the frame. Yeah. It is forever later. I went on vacation after that last clip. Anyway, basically I have everything welded on. It's technically a roller, except I don't have a way to keep the wheels on, and I also don't have keys in the wheels yet. So, and also I'll have to figure something out for the seat. I was thinking about using these keys. These might shear, but if they do, then I guess just get other keys, or like I might make a long key out of 2 of these or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna figure something out for the rear end. Also, I have to figure out the front end. This side is good. This side has too much camber, so I'm thinking about just like twisting this down a little bit, and one of these sides has a little bit too much toe. Okay, it is this side, so this side I might actually just cut off and then just re-weld it where I want it. But I think after I get the transaxle all good, I'm going to work on the front end, steering, and make this thing a roller. Well, technically it is a roller, but the rear tires will come off and it won't go straight because the 2 tires aren't linked together in any way. So let's figure something out. Also, basically these are too far in right now, so the seat won't fit in the middle, and also it's way out of line from the front tires. I'm not too concerned about this. It's not gonna affect anything, but see all this space? I'm able to get like probably damn near 2 inches if I just move these out. So it's not gonna be perfect, but I have this copper tubing over here. I'll cut 2 2-inch pieces out, and then I'll just put them on each side, because that side also has a bunch of extra axle. So let's cut and put on. Alright, I got the wheels on. I just need to get some snap rings. This is very hard to turn. I don't know why, but I need to get some snap rings. I wonder if the brakes are like engaged. I don't know. All I know is this is a welded diff. So I need to get some snap rings and throw them on each tire. I was not waiting freaking forever for C-clips, so I just tack welded a washer onto there. If I ever have to take the wheels off, I will, like, once this is done, so I can paint the rims, I can always just grind it down and then re-tack it whenever I'm done. Alright, so that is done. I think I'm gonna work on the front end. Seat is a little tight, which does concern me a little bit. When I say tight, it is rubbing heavily on both sides. We'll figure something out though. I actually had to fix this one piece anyway, because it is not like aligned with the frame. So I'm not too worried about the camber. Sure, it might not look the best that it could, but I'm gonna try my best to move this back slightly and like twist it out slightly. Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'll figure it out. I did bend it a little bit. It is still a little bent. I'm just gonna roll with it. If I do have a problem with it later, then I'll fix it from there. But something that does concern me is it is abnormally easy to turn these tires. I don't know why. It might just be because we have less camber, or more camber on it, which means less surface area. The hood isn't holding it up. I think once the rear end is lower, it'll have more traction on it, like more weight on it. Also, there will be an engine in it, obviously. So it won't always be this like non-traction. So yeah, let's do the steering. Some people may call me gay. I don't care. The slight squat on this, so nice. It just, it looks so nice. A nice and low hood. Dude, this thing is gonna be so freaking fun to ride. Alright, enough yapping, let's get to the steering. Alright, so, I have it rigged up. It does move, it just is hitting the ground. So, I need to straighten that somehow. And then I also have to fix this. I could probably just take a bearing, drill like a 1 3/8 hole right here and just have it like ride in the bearing. But I mean, it actually works really well. I'm surprised how easily I was able to get this rigged up. Alright, I have it rigged up and it has good angle steering both ways. That's the best it's gonna get though. Now we just need to make a tie rod. It has to be pretty long because of the distance it is like from each other, because this isn't the stock axle, this is a different axle, or like pivot bars, assembly, whatever. And I cut it and there's probably about 6 inches added to the length of the front wheelbase, so it has to be a significant piece of metal. I know I just bought some round stock that might be that long, but we'll see. This is the original tie rod. Other than it being slightly bent, there's really no issues with this. I mean, it's one of the most sturdy tie rods I have. It's probably 3/8 inch thick. I know I should be running something thicker, but if I bend it, I bend it. I'll probably just have to make another one at some point. I have 1/2 inch round stock. I just cannot find it. So I'm gonna use this original one. It works. Alright, now I just need to take some triangles and weld them here so it doesn't flex. See, I might have got the entire front end mocked up, but as soon as I put any weight on it, it will not steer without like making the gears grind. And I've had this mower for freaking ever, and I never thought that this might have something to do with it. So I'm gonna fix this and try to make this steering assembly, whatever the hell it's called, tighter and better to where it won't be grinding gears. So, a couple things I have to do in the near future. There are brackets that come out of here to hold this on both sides. And probably tomorrow I'll go get the fenders from behind my shed where all my parts lawnmowers are, because it is in the middle of the night right now. So basically I fixed this steering system. It was just, it's from 1999, so it's pretty worn. But I added a bearing up here. Guys, don't weld bearings because they can damage them and possibly lock them up. Ask me how I know. Now it steers both ways pretty nicely too. There's a little play, but that's mostly in the tie rod. It's not 100% tight. So in the near future I got to get fenders, get the brackets, get the fenders on and everything, and then we can start working on mechanics like the clutch / brake. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the brake. I honestly might just make it like how it is on a normal lawnmower, and where you press that down, it disengages and presses the brake. Or I might have a brake on this side and have a hand throttle. I think I have a bike grip somewhere. If not, they're cheap on Amazon. I'll probably just pick one up. Only problem about the one that I do have is on a lot of bike handles there is a parking brake. Well, that's for like bigger machines like quads and stuff. But I would like a parking brake, but it's not gonna matter because it's gonna be throttle. So as much as these fenders need work, they're in pretty good condition other than some rust. And not dented at all. My other fenders. This thing is going to look sick. So, I kind of discovered something once I had these fenders on and everything and mounted. Well, not very well, obviously, but, the seat still will not fit. It'll still hit both tires. So, what I'm gonna have to do is, I'm going to have to redo the entire fenders, and also I have to get a 3/8 bolt, and then I'll just cut off the head and weld it to the shaft. Oh, this is gonna suck. I have to redo everything about this. The mounts weren't that good anyway. But I have to redo the fenders. I have to redo freaking everything. Alright, sorry about the noise. The fan is on full blast and it is hot as hell in here. Basically, as you can see, it hits both sides. I've tried a smaller seat and everything, and it still won't, like, fit. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the axle probably like 2 inches on each side. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more in line with the front wheels too. So it'll be a lot less tippy if I do this too. And that makes it to where I can sit really far in to the mower. Like, I'm sitting on top of the transmission right now, basically. And this is how it's going to feel like riding it. So, this thing's gonna be really, really fun. I am really excited to get this thing done. So, I was also thinking, I'll probably use the original exhaust that I made for this engine. But, I was thinking, I'm not gonna be racing this. I'm just gonna be, you know, cruising around outside. Why not go bigger than 15.5? Let's go for a 2-cylinder, 15 horsepower. It's half a horsepower less, but it's a huge butt here. I wish, but anyway, this is my theory for the single cylinder versus double cylinder. This gets power every however many rotations, but a 2-cylinder will be getting it half of that many. And the one thing about fast gear ratios is they stall a lot. So I'm thinking about just running a 2-cylinder in there. It has a nice wide hood. I mean, this hood is freaking massive. So I'll be able to fit a big engine in there. I'm thinking that engine back there. See, the reason I'm gonna run a 15 in there, and for example, not my 18.5 that's in my Murray, is because I kind of overheated this one, and I believe it has a warped head because it will not start. I mean, it runs on full choke, but it runs like crap, so I'm thinking it's a warped head. Because I opened up the hood and it was just a cloud of smoke that came up. So I'll probably run that 15 horsepower in there. And then if I get that thing running, I'll probably put it in there. Because I'm getting a V-twin for my Murray. Alright, this is the brake lever I'll be using. The good thing about this is this thing is from an old electric scooter, so it has a wire on it. I don't know if it's for like brake lights or I don't know, but I'm able to run brake lights on it because the fenders that I cut up have brake lights on them already. So I'll probably run brake lights to this. There's a switch in here. Whenever you press it down, it turns on. So this thing will have brake lights. That's gonna be so cool. Basically, what my idea is with the shaft is I'll have this shaft, I'll grind down this part, and then I'll get like a 3-inch bolt or 2-inch bolt or whatever, cut off the head of it, weld it onto here, and then grind it down, and then have the tire sit further out, and then that'll allow for threads to be on the end, so I can hold the tire on with a bolt and not C-clips, because I don't trust them. I'm just realizing the camber difference in between both of the wheels. Uh-oh. So now that I'm waiting for parts, let's work on other stuff. I've made a seat mounting plate. I don't know why, but there's only one bolt for the seat. It'll be held in by the fenders, I'd imagine. Anyway, I drew a hole for some adjustment holes. Then I have 2 holes that bolt into those. So, seat mount is done-ish. So I have the seat on. It's not totally tight. It does bend a little bit because it is like thin metal, but I mean it stays on, and the fenders are also going to be holding it in place. So seat mount is done for now, and this little flex will add a lot of suspension. It won't beat the crap out of me because the pivot bar doesn't even exist now. It's welded in place, and there's no suspension on this thing other than the frame flexing. So this is going to be a back saver for sure. Definitely is a little bit far forward, so it's in the middle setting right now, so I'll move it back one whenever I take this off. Once I can get the fenders and wheels on, it should fit in between, because before the wheel used to come out to probably about right here. I ordered a 2-inch bolt, so it should bring it out to about right here for the edge of the tire. That's just enough space for me to run some like metal through here for like the fenders. All right, so now I'm probably just gonna wait for the bolts. They're supposed to come 2 days from right now. I'll just weld them onto the end of here, throw a nut on here, and then yeah. So while I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking eventually I'll probably get a bigger engine for this thing, because this engine well thing might not look that big, but when I say it is the biggest one I've ever worked on, I mean it. That says a lot because I've worked on a lot of lawnmowers, but this hood is freaking massive, and I feel like a good stuff, like a 30 horsepower V-twin in here. So I just noticed something catastrophic. I need to rotate the transmission 180 degrees, or else I will have 3 gears backwards and 1 gear forward and a neutral. Because if you ever flip your transaxle, you need to rotate it 180 degrees, so you still keep the 3 forward and 1 reverse, or however many gears you have. But I guess this is good timing, because I do have the axle bolts coming in today that I'm going to put on the end of these axles if this tire will come off. I'm going to here, and then I'll have a nut on the end. So this sucks a lot, but I guess I'll figure something out. So it looks goofy right now, just kind of cantilevering off. The reason I'm not moving it forward is because I don't feel like it. These are completely welded on, these mounts, and I already slotted the frame, and I do not feel like slotting it again, welding it again. So I'm just gonna run it like this. I'm obviously gonna have to make a mount that comes off, and then I'll have to get a longer belt then, because the shaft is out further. I'll have to figure something out for the brakes. I'll probably run an e-brake of some sort, I guess. I don't know. And then the shifter is gonna be real hard. I'm gonna have to figure something out for covering this mess up. Alright, now that I have this welded on, I'm gonna grind on the outside so it sits flush. And I don't think it warped at all. So that's good, I'll be able to get the tire on. Obviously we need that. So I'm just gonna grind down these welds because some of them stick out further than others. Anyway, I'm just waiting on nuts now to go on the end, so. Oh, starting. Here, yo, holy crap! Starting to hail. I just got hit by like a penny. Where's Dad? Alright, finally I have the bolt and nut on, and it's spaced out a decent amount. The amount of time this took is absolutely insane. It took like 10 hours just to do this one side. I still have to do the other side, mind you, but it's because I welded it. I welded it straight. I like clamped it to this angle iron. And then I guess the weld got so hot, I removed the angle iron and it warped, so it wouldn't go on. So I absolutely freaking destroyed my mallet trying to get this tire on, and then I had to grind down some of the threads. Then I stripped the threads. It's a whole mess, but it's finally on, and the key is incredibly thin in there, so I hope it stays on. If not, I am switching transmissions. I am done. So I have this one on. It's spaced out probably 3 inches. We'll do this side now. I'm just now realizing I put the freaking tire on backwards. But that sucks. I'll just have to fill it up from there because I am not rotating this. So the angle iron method wasn't working. I don't know why I didn't think about this originally, but why don't I just take a 3/4 copper pipe and cut it to where I'm able to weld, and then whenever I'm done I can just cut this pipe off. Like, duh. I don't know why I didn't think of this. Anyway, I'm gonna get weld.
One eternity later.
So, off camera, I spent many hours getting the other wheel on. When I say it was harder than the other one, I mean it. Anyway, now that they're both on, let's work on the fenders. We'll have to probably redo the entire fenders, unfortunately, but I kind of wish I kept the original fenders. And I would have just bent the fenders, but no, I had to go and cut them. So never mind. I am not putting an opposed twin in this mower. I am putting a single cylinder because I just got my other opposed twin working. I was going to steal everything from that and put it on here, but I obviously can't do that, and I don't want to spend $50 on parts. That thing runs, probably just needs a carb clean now. But it runs completely fine. It's actually the original motor that was in this frame, so. Also, I did just realize I don't need to tie the fenders into the footrest. I can just have them independent, like not tied in. I'm gonna do that and see how it looks. I'm thinking I'm going to cut the fender and kind of did what my custom go-kart did with their Murray. I'm probably gonna cut it here and then bend this down so it kind of hugs the wheel better. But honestly, I don't think this will look too bad, honestly. So I don't know how I'm gonna mount it, but we'll see. Also, this doesn't actually look that bad. If I can patch up all this, I don't think it'll look that bad, honestly. Sure, it might not look the best it could, but I am not a master fabricator, and the most I have is a Harbor Freight welder and a angle grinder, so I can't get very exact measurements of anything, but I think I'm going to patch all that and just run it like this. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad. But for right now, I'm not gonna worry about fenders. I'm just gonna worry about getting it running and just praying that the transmission isn't seized or the welded diff doesn't break, because it's welded. The diff is welded, but I didn't put any like filler metal in there with the welded diff, so if it breaks, I'm kind of screwed. Also, it is incredibly hard to turn over. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the welded diff, but I guess we'll see. Alright, the motor is mounted back. This is actually the original motor that was in this frame. This motor runs so well. It's just, we just redid our garage doors, so like paint dust went everywhere, including all through the carburetor. So if it doesn't run, I know exactly what's wrong with it. Let's get a battery and hook it up to the starter. What the hell was that? I am too lazy to walk up the hill to get the jumper cables, but that's really just an excuse to ride this thing. Please start. Oh yeah. So smooth. Sounds so good. Enough yapping, let's look for these jumper cables. I have no idea where these things could be. I found them. What the hell? There's too many bees nests for me to be in here. What the hell? Please. Come on. No. Oh my god. Please. Yes. Yay. Oh, that's not comfortable. Wow. Okay. That is not comfortable at all. Let's creep all the way back down. We just need to hook up a gas tank and a couple cables and figure something out, I guess, because I don't know how I'm gonna run the choke or anything. I'll have to figure something out. Let's first off just get this outside. The weak point of the steering assembly is the stock first gen steering. Yes, it works, but you really have to be moving to turn it any further than that to the side, because it is first gen and heavily worn out, because my father used to own this lawnmower, so yeah. Stupid welded diff. I don't know why I welded a diff. Oh. The amount lower that this thing is than your average lawnmower is insane. Like, that's wild. This thing is going to be so fun. That motor is like a foot higher than this one. This is gonna be such a fun machine. I just realized this one probably doesn't have oil. Never mind, it's perfect. Yeah! And run! Calculated it. I should get about 65 miles an hour when the motor is at 4,000 RPM, which I guarantee we will not make with a 15.5 horsepower. And also belt slip, so we'll probably be closer to like 45-ish miles an hour with this setup. Welded diff might be a problem, but it's fine. I can always gear it differently. I can always gear it to like 30 miles an hour. That one I can get about 30 on. I've gotten 45 on that lawnmower over there, but it was actually with this engine, so I know it's capable of 45. So welded diff might be a problem. If this transmission blows up, I guarantee it will at some point. It's a Spicer. It's a piece of crap. I'll just keep it for parts, and I'll get like a 5-speed Peerless or something. That's what I have in that over there, but we'll see. So I was gonna put a battery right here, but a normal sized battery will not fit right there. But I have a smaller battery. It's brand new, works great. This will fit perfectly. Boom. So the original fuel tank for this frame is on my mini bike, so we will not be able to use it. So I'm thinking about just running this fuel tank. It's probably about a gallon. I don't know where to check how big it is, but I'm betting it's probably 3/4 gallon, maybe a gallon. But I'm just gonna somehow mount it in there like that. I think that'll be plenty. I mean, this engine doesn't take up too much fuel. Even these, I can go like 10 miles on a gallon. I know it's not as good as, like, I mean, these are a gallon, so I can go about 10 miles on a tank. Not good, not great, but it's definitely not as bad as other lawnmowers. This one, I could go freaking forever on a gas tank, so for the first time ever, I ran out of idler pulleys. So I have to steal a couple from my parts mowers. Hey. Honestly, I'm just gonna steal this one from this deck. I couldn't get the pulley off because the nut is like welded on there. It is like so frozen on there. So I'll have to get like an impact on there. So I just took the whole linkage, honestly. Honestly, I might actually be able to use this linkage. I could ditch the clutch that I made and use this, because there's a little thing that goes in here that puts it down to a 3/8 inch. So it can spin on the bolt, and then there's also belt keepers and stuff on it already. So 5 freaking minutes I left my monster out here. Are you kidding me? How many ants have I drank? Alright, I have everything done. There's a 10-inch front pulley, and it's like a 4 to 2 inch adjustable back pulley. And this is my clutch system. I'll need to get a belt that's an inch shorter, obviously. This is 107 inch, so I'll need 106 inch. So it goes back there, and whenever you press the clutch, it will pull this and it'll disengage. Whenever you release it, the spring will bring it back and it'll engage it again. So the new belt is coming tomorrow. While we wait, let's make the clutch and the brake. Alright, got it all welded up, so let's go put it on. So this nut was like stuck on there, as I was saying. Anyway, I had to cut like a plus sign into it, and then I had to go diagonal in every way. And then I just took a screwdriver and just tapped the nut out. So, I won't be able to use this bolt, but now the pulley is off. So, I'll put a different bolt on here, of course. I'll probably keep this belt keeper on here too. I have the throttle done. I'm gonna leave this mobile because there's not much pressure for me to grab this. It's not like it's gonna like come off or anything, and if I want to move it around, I'm able to put it at different places on the steering wheel. So we have a lot of extra cable, so that'll be nice for whenever I'm steering, so I'm actually able to steer that far, right? Anyway, yeah, throttle's done. Alright, so it's 9 in the morning and already about 1 trillion degrees out, but I just have to make a brake and a kill switch and a shifter. So I'm gonna see if I can grind that out today because the belt's coming today, which means I'll be having this driving today. It's only 81 degrees outside, but the feels like temperature is 95. Anyway, enough yapping. Let's wire up the kill switch. I think this is actually going to work perfectly. That's where the old key used to go, and it seems like it should work. So I'll fire this engine up somehow. I'll probably have to jump it, and then I know it's one of these. I don't remember which ones are the kill switch, but I'll figure it out, and then I'll run wires. So this happened. I'm too lazy to clean that up right now. I need to find some electrical connectors so I can wire it up. A lot of stuff has happened recently. Basically, I got all the wires done and stuff. But I got it running and moving and stuff. But it randomly stopped running. I'm assuming it's because of that 20-year-old filter. So I'm gonna replace it. It's also straight pipe right now, and the carburetor is off. So now I have to rotate the transmission 180 degrees, I think. But where is it? Here it is. Oh my god, hold on. It's stuck in gear. It is stuck in gear, hold on. There we go. This is neutral. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is... Okay, maybe it's not. I don't know. This transmission has... Oh. Yeah, this is neutral. And then there's 3 back gears. Except the reverse gears. And this is the only forward gear. So... to take off this seat, that's not a big deal. Then I have to take this, rotate it 180 degrees. Well, take this, rotate it 180 degrees like that. So, I'm glad I figured this out before I went and used all this round stuff for stuff that I can't even use. So, I'll have to get a different belt because this pulley, it's right here. It'll be like right here. So, yay. Alright, got the transmission off, and we are currently having a sun shower. Anyway, basically what we gotta do, instead of having like 70 miles an hour backward, we need to rotate this whole thing 180 degrees. So that tire will be that tire. Alright, so I have it mounted. You don't understand how long this took. It was heavy as hell, the frame. And I just ran into a bunch of problems. I had to drill out a little hole because this is the brake, like, stud adjustment thingy. I'll probably cut out like a 1-inch square right here so I'm able to access the brakes better. But this will be a lot better for my shifter and the brakes accessing them, because the shifter used to be like the whole way back out here. And the brakes used to be like right here, like in line with the frame, so it was impossible to make a mount, or not mount, a linkage for this. But I should be able to make everything better. Also, cheaper belts because it's going to be shorter, not by much, but hopefully it's easier to find than the 106.5 inch. I had to find. Alright, it shifts through all the gears, clears everything on the frame. So, okay, the pulley is spinning clockwise, and it is going forward whenever I spin the pulley. So that means it's going the right way this time. I don't know how it was mounted backwards on the other mower, but whatever. But yeah, I just need a belt, and that's basically how I had it before. I didn't have a shifter or brakes hooked up, so this gives me an opportunity for a e-brake. I don't think I'm gonna make one. I think I'm gonna somehow make it with that. But yeah, I have to do something for the clutch. Oh my gosh, I just like almost puked. Anyway, I have to do something with the clutch because it sucks. Alright, so I've redone my clutch system and the belt system. Well, actually just the clutch system. It was right here that was binding up. You see how many cuts and bends I had to make in this belts? Basically, I bored out this. I took a 3/8 drill bit. I bored it out like 1/8 of an inch. Same with this, and now it works really well. Also, the spring was rubbing on this because it was rubbing somewhere, and it wasn't allowing it to fully disengage. But this spring is good. It should get good tension. So that's disengaged, that's engaged. So I'm gonna get a 92-inch bolt at some point, and I should be moving on this thing. I'm just trying to make this thing as reliable as possible. Next up, probably shifter or brakes. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Froggy! 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 Alright, nice simple shifter. It shifts through all the gears perfectly. It's nice and simple. You can set it to different heights and whatever. But I'm going to do something different for the brakes. I haven't seen anyone else do this. Basically, I'm going to weld a nut here and here. Well, probably a nut here, here, and here. Anyway, and then I'm going to weld a bolt on the end of this. It's going to thread in. Alright, I'm going to bend this. So whenever I press this, it will pull this, therefore pulling this, which engages the brakes. I'm going to do that. I haven't seen anyone else do it, but theoretically it should work. So I'm going to try it. Alright, it is 4 in the morning, and it feels like temperature of about 100. So it is hot as hell in here. When I say it's like a crematorium in here, I mean it. Anyway, I got the brake done. Finally, I have a working shifter, working brake, and clutch. I just need a belt for it now. So whenever I press this down, you know, the belt needs to disengage a little bit, so it'll ride along that bolt, pause, and then it'll start engaging the brakes while also continuously disengaging the belt too. So yeah, I kind of just took some 3/8 round stock, ran it back here. Don't know why this looks like this. And then I just kind of welded a bolt to it. I Loctited both nuts, so hopefully they won't come off. And then the shifter doesn't interfere with this at all. I mean, it collides a little bit, but even if I lift it up, it doesn't shift on other gears. So neutral for second, third, reverse. So I'm definitely gonna have to tighten up the shifting because this almost feels like it's just gliding along. I almost don't feel it shifting gears at all, so I'll have to tighten that up. Transmission is mounted, of course. All I need now is 12-pack of Apple and a belt, and I'll be good. This engine actually runs now. The old filter was from 30 years ago. So I got a new filter. Shut up. This doesn't leak. Don't know how. Don't care. If it works, it works. Kill switch all wired up. This is on. This is off. And fuel shut off. This is the throttle. And I don't have a way to start. I don't have a way to control the choke. Might add that in the future, but. Uh-oh. It is stuck. Okay. Don't know why it got stuck, but actually I'm gonna lube this up right here so it will glide across the bolt, so it won't get caught again. Worst case scenario, if it does get stuck down, it's not like I'm gonna be moving. It literally does the job of stopping it. So yeah. Alright, it's the next morning. All it needs now is a belt. I have a belt. So, I just have to pray that this works because it was a complete guess. I mean, not complete. I kind of measured it, but not very accurately. I'm just praying that this will work. So, I'm going to get the belt on and I guess roll it out. Of course, belt was a little bit too small, so I went and returned it and got another one. let's hope this one fits. This is a 93 inch, so I could get the 93 inch on, but it would not stop whatsoever. The clutch would be to the floor, and it would not even make an attempt to stop. So I guess I'm running out for a third time to get a 94 inch. It's actually like 2 weeks after that clip. I've been incredibly busy. So I'm gonna go run out and get a 94 inch, throw it on here, and pull this thing out, see what it can do. Also, the transmission, I've had so many problems with in the past. This is a Spicer transmission. Absolute crap. Never get them, only get Peerless. And it was making a incredibly loud humming noise, and it got louder each time I turned on the mower. So I'm hoping the transmission isn't going out. I am picking up a transmission tomorrow, just in case this one does go out. I'll end up replacing it at some point because Spicers absolutely suck. So yeah, I'm gonna go get a belt for this and hope the transmission stays together. I forgot to mention in the video, the reason I'm going down in gear ratio, like a slower gear ratio, is because in first gear I was doing like 15 miles an hour, and second gear would just immediately make it stall, let alone third gear. So it was actually geared closer to 80 miles an hour. So that's why I'm going slower in gear ratio. Why that specific gear ratio, you might ask? The belt is a little tight right now. There's a 2 inch on the back, 9 inch on the front. If I take this down to a 6 inch and go up 2 inches in the back, that'll leave like an inch and a half more belt, so it'll slip a little bit more, which is good because it doesn't disengage fully. I also discovered something. I sheared both of these keys. When I say it's sheared, I mean it's bad. This is the keyway on the shaft. This is the keyway on the wheel. So it is very much sheared. That's bad. Much smaller. This will make it to where it'll be slower, but it won't be 80 miles an hour. But it's to where it can actually move. So the transaxle that I just bought, welded studs on the end. I went a little bit smaller because the other ones were 3/4, and it completely destroyed the threads. I'm assuming that was 3/4 of an inch on the very bottom of the thread, not the top. And both sides, it was warped a little bit. So I got 5/8, and it's like perfect. Both wheels will go on. So I'm going to go put the wheels on. Alright, time to make a seat mount. That was the old seat mount. A bunch of problems with it, literally body metal. I spent about 30 minutes in Tractor Supply finding this bolt. Anyway, I'm gonna put a plate across here, mount it down, and it's gonna be mounted to the plate, like right in the middle here. So let's get welding, I guess. So, past a couple hours, I've done a lot cosmetically. Finally got the fenders on. Hugs the seat real nice. Speaking of the seat, I have it mounted now. And for the fenders, I didn't realize how good it looks without it tied in to the footrests. It doesn't look that bad. I thought it would look like crap. It doesn't look that bad. So I took some square tubing, don't mind the welds. Took the fenders out, and then I took some 1/4 inch round stock, bent it around the seat, and then welded it to the bottom. Same thing for the other side. And then I just tacked the footrest on there and bolted it on there. Same with the other side. Oh, also, my buddy gave me a light bar for this thing. So I mounted it right in the middle. I'm ditching that. I don't really like the look. And if I do plan on racing this, that'll come off. So I don't know if I'm able to run that or not, but I'm not going to. I have finished the wiring. The kill switch has been here since I made this. So kill switch was already done. All I really did was tidied up some of these wires and made it to where I didn't have to shock the hell out of this bolt right here to start it. I now have a starter switch. So whenever I press that down, it engages the motor. So now that I have the wiring done, eventually I'm going to wire up the light bar that I have on the hood. My buddy gave me that. Shout out to him. Then electrical will be all done. Now all I have to do is, I broke that fender last night, so I have to repair that, clean up some of these welds, fix the belt problem. It keeps popping off, but it only popped off like twice last night, so that's not that too terribly bad. So I'll just have to fix the belt problem, tidy up some of these welds, pressure wash it, paint it, and wire up the light bar, and this project will be done. I mean, it's just that simple. So alright, so I am fixing the steering now. I did take the mower through the neighborhood for the first time. Everything worked perfectly except for the front assembly. Basically, where's the wheel? Okay, it was on plastic bushings, and I just had a washer tack welded onto the end of here. And let's say plastic bushings and anything above 5 miles an hour don't go very well. Let's just say they melted so much that I almost lost a wheel, but I made it home just in time. So the spindles were also bowed out on both sides a little bit. So I am fixing that now, just with a piece of round stock, because this is the old tie rod. not the prettiest. So I'm fixing it with this, and then I'll just cut these off. All right, I took this thing through the neighborhood today, once again, and I had about the worst death wobble I've ever had of my life. I tried to fix the steering on it. It is first gen steering, so it is horrid. I'm going to fix it at some point, but that is about straight, and that side is pointed out the slightest bit. I don't know if that will fix it, but I definitely have to remove all this play in the steering, because I just felt it drifting back and forth, and it was trying to tip on me and stuff. Anyway, I definitely want to fix that. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring this thing out, pressure wash it, and then paint it. I'm going to paint it everything black, and then I'm going to eventually add some accent colors, and then right here or right there, I'm going to make the name. I don't know what I'm going to name it yet. And then I'll put some decals on it and stuff. And then, yeah, this build will be finished tomorrow. Also, belt keepers. The belt keeps popping off, so I need to figure something out for the belt keepers. I don't think I'm going to run a shifter here, so I might patch this space, but we'll see. Alright, it's the next morning. It's about to storm like hell. Anyway, I finally made a clutch. This is actually the original place and assembly for the throttle. Not the same cable, though. I don't know where that cable went. But this is closed, and then the entire way up to full throttle before you go into choke is the whole way open. Well, full throttle. It's in full throttle right now. It's the slightest bit closed, so I can just bring it above into the choke range of the original assembly, and it will open the entire way. Alright, I'm probably gonna pull this thing out, pressure wash it, probably touch up a couple welds, maybe do some grinding, and then trim off stuff I don't want to paint, and then I'm gonna paint this frame. I did paint this frame before, but I didn't paint anything else. That hood I painted, but these are all new fenders and stuff. So I'm going to clean everything with a pressure washer, and then I'm gonna paint it. Of course, trimming off the lights and stuff. Alright, let's pull this thing out. Alright, I have painted the fenders and just did a couple touch-up things on the frame. The wheels or the rims I'm gonna paint red, like a deep red. And then I painted this all black. I'm eventually gonna take some duct tape and make some stripes down the top, and then I'm going to have the name either here or here. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I will eventually tie these fenders in and then cover up all that. Alright, painting is done. It's the next morning. So there are a couple specks scattered throughout the thing that I'll probably end up sanding the whole thing down and then repainting it. Anyway, now I am going to paint the rims. I'm about to run out, get some red paint and paint the rims. And any like tie rods or whatever and like linkages I'm going to paint red. And then I'm gonna tie in the fenders and everything back here, and then make belt keepers, and this thing's done. I've picked out a name for it. I'm going with the name Night Fury, based off How to Train Your Dragon. So yeah, I just have to pick up a couple letters. I'll probably like have them go along here on both sides, and then I'll have two stripes going down the middle here. So alright, right now as it sits, everything is done on it, other than the decals I'm getting for each side. This thing is done. Well, actually, I need to paint the inside of the rims, and eventually I'm gonna tie in the back fenders here, but mechanically, this thing is all done. It runs, drives like a beaut. The steering is incredibly sketchy, so I'll have to do something. It's ugly, but it's gonna have to work eventually. I could grind down these welds and then take like auto body filler, put it all through these cracks. That one I could probably just weld. And then I welded the rear end on here. It's not just supported by the fenders. There's things that go to the transmission. And that should restrict it from bouncing that much. But it's ugly right now, so let's paint it. Alright, it's kinda ugly. I don't care though. It's tied in with some welds here, and then I put this thing on here. So it looks better than it did before because it was just all open back there and did not look good. I'm glad this won't be like hitting the ground. Shut up. Anyway, looks a lot better. I might eventually put some triangles right here. I'll probably put one over here because that's pretty big. Seat doesn't hit it or anything, so I mean, I think it looks good. So next thing I do want to fix is the steering. That is basically going completely straight. This one is not. I think that's why it's so touchy. Like I mean, it doesn't help that much play, but I've had more play before and it hasn't been that touchy. I think it's because they're facing out instead of bowed in. And here it is. Finally done. This video has taken over 2 months for this thing to be built. I'm still waiting on decals. And I'll probably tweak a couple things. Like, I still need to paint the inside of the rims, but I did tie in the fenders, so you can't really see them. Also, this build, I didn't really go into detail of what I've done to build this thing, and I also did leave out a couple things, like I made a switch for the light bar, and I got it working, so I did leave out a couple things, and any future builds, I will be going into detail more than this build. I kind of just wanted to run through of what I've done on this build. So future builds, expect more detail, longer videos. This one's probably going to be over an hour. I mean, when I'm making this, I'm editing the video right now, and it has over 130 separate videos, and some are upwards of 4 minutes long. So this is a very long video, but eventually I'm going to fix a couple things on it, make stuff more reliable, and I'll just tweak a couple different things. For example, I tied in the fenders in the back. Looks so much better. Anyway, thank you all for watching.